the diagnosis was 2 to 4 years, but actually if you look beyond that, it can be many years. There's people out there that are still around who've been in a similar situation for 20 years. So, there's hope. There is hope, and I'm very lucky that there is treatment for me. But also, you don't know. It could be less than that. So that is the target. Crack on, many years ideally, and within that time, I want to change perception of what stage 4 can look like. For a lot of people, they don't have the luxury that I have, and the time is much, much less. But for those that are in a similar situation, there's a lot of life left to live.
Virgin Radio.
You've been to see the best in the business, because my name's in there a few times, but thankfully it's Professor Chris Evans and not this idiot behind the microphone. He's a bit of a genius, isn't he?
He is. So I found out about Professor Chris Evans through Andy Taylor from Duran Duran. He had the same diagnosis as me a few years ago, and he was basically in end-of-life care, and found out about this guy, Professor Chris Evans, and the work that he was doing, his team have been doing. And one of the medications that he's on is now, I think he's basically asymptomatic. They've managed to bring him back from the brink, and he has a few years.
And you've talked to Andy about this quite a lot.
So I read this, and it was right when I was diagnosed, and I was right in this sort of pit of despair, and you're spiraling. You're just trying to grab onto anything to try and sort of steady yourself. And I read this article, and I was like, well, or loads of people sent them to me, that family and people that I'd told, and I read it, and it was basically exactly the same situation: prostate, stage 4, into the bones, but he was a few years ahead of me. So he had this new treatment, and I thought, well, if we can try and find either contact for Andy Taylor or for Professor Chris Evans, and we did that. And Andy, he said, look, call me anytime. We had a chat, so positive, like it was just. You can hear other people can say you can do this, and there's this out here, and there's that. But when you talk to somebody who's in the same boat as you,
literally the same,
but is further down the line, and he can still be that positive, and you think, well, geez, he's doing it. Maybe I can do it too. And he introduced me to Chris Evans, and yeah, it's I've not been treated by him yet, but the point is that there are stages beyond where you are just now. So you have your line of treatment, which is working really well. Touch wood, everything's going. I've responded well to the chemotherapy and the other medicine I'm on, and you do that as long as you can until it stops working, and then you have the next line of defence, and the next line of defence, and you hope that just keeps kicking the can down the road.
And like you say, never say never.
Yeah,
Jeez.
Exactly. And none of us live forever.
That's the point.
You live this.
That's the point.
This is the wake-up call for me. It's not as if we had an infinite life and I found out I don't. It's we all know the facts of life.
Yeah.
But we live as if we're going to live forever. We act as if we're going to live forever. We let small things get to us. We worry about stupid stuff, of which 90% never actually happens.
Oh my gosh, I so want to talk to you about all that, by the way. Because we all have the ultimate same diagnosis. It's just that there are different timelines, which is exactly what you're speaking to. So what is your fitness regime like now? What is your health regime like now? What can you share with our listeners that might help them?
I think the key thing for anyone listening is, you don't have to do some extreme exercise regime or program to get a benefit from it. It's about moving your body, finding ways to do that, make it fit into your life. A walk to work instead of driving or taking the train or whatever. It's finding the ways to get it into your life. So for me, I'm pretty busy, but I try and do something every day, either on the bike, in the garage at home. 30 minutes on the bike is better than doing nothing. So even if you've got a stacked day, just get up 30 minutes early, do it, get it done.
And better a bit every day than 1 hour a week or 2 hours
Exactly.
a week.
Don't try and do, if you're a cyclist, don't go out and do a 5-hour ride on a Sunday and absolutely, you can do that, but try and also supplement it.
Don't try and cycle up a mountain. Yeah. That's in the book as well, isn't it?
So I ride my bike, I go to the gym, and I do stuff I enjoy, but when I'd finished chemo, so through chemo I did something every day apart from 3 days. And I dragged myself onto the bike to feel like I was fighting back, I was punching back, doing something proactive. And I tried to maintain some level of fitness. I then we went on holiday. As soon as, for 4 months, you couldn't leave the country. I got through the darkest months in the middle of winter. Easter time, we went out, I did a charity event in Hong Kong, and then I went to Thailand with the family, and we had a couple of weeks there. And I took the bike, and I went out on the first day, and I remember... And I went out at sunrise. It was literally just as the sun was coming up, the earliest I could possibly get out. On the quiet roads, it was still like 28 degrees at that point. And I rode up this hill. There's like a massive big Buddha in Phuket. It's right on top of this hill. And I found myself riding up this hill, and I got halfway up it, and I couldn't go any further. I couldn't turn the pedals. And I've never quit on a hill before. I've never stopped halfway up. And it was a significant moment, and I was absolutely deflated. And I came back to the hotel, and so I was, how's the ride? And I was like, yeah, it was fine. But I was kind of devastated.
You were shattered, weren't you?
And I spent the rest of the week, I tried to find flatter routes for the rest of the week and tried to build up. I just didn't have, over the years, when you call upon the muscles in your body to respond, you go, right now, you're gonna work now, and they respond. And you have that mental link between your brain and your body. And it felt like it just wasn't able to do what I was asking it. And there's reasons why, obviously. But still, you kind of think, no, I'll be able to push through it. I'll be able to get up the hill. I won't go fast, but I'll be able to get up it. But I couldn't. So I came back at the end of the holiday, having kind of built up to it, and I got through it. And I got to the top of the hill, and I realised that the bit that I quit on, there was a hairpin. And just after that hairpin, the gradient eased a little bit. It was still going uphill, but it wasn't like 25%. And I realised that what a metaphor for life, that actually those points where you think, I can't go on. If you can just hang in there, if you can just grip on and keep going, it will ease eventually. And that was exactly what happened. So I learned a lot about life on that one bike ride. And since then, my fitness has got better and better. I've been, I was away in Greece last week for half term. I was riding, out there over these mountains out there. I'm as fit as I've been in the last 12 months by a long way right now. And even in the gym, getting stronger. So it's finding your own, within your own life, within your own situation, how can you fit exercise and movement within your week? And try and do it if you can every day, even just walking, just doing something. Use the stairs, don't use the lift. Yeah. It's move your body, use it or lose it, and if you can keep active, the benefit mentally is hard to overstate.
What's the plan?
Well, the plan is right now, keep doing what I'm doing, in terms of treatment, because it's working, touch wood. And the diagnosis was 2 to 4 years, but actually, if you look beyond that, it can be many years. There's people out there that are still around who've been in a similar situation for 20 years. So, there's hope. There is hope. And I'm very lucky that there is treatment for me. But also, you don't know. It could be less than that. So that is the target, crack on, many years ideally. And within that time, I want to change perception of what stage 4 can look like. For a lot of people, they don't have the luxury that I have, and the time is much, much less. But for those that are in a similar situation, there's a lot of life left to live. And within that time, I want to, first of all, get more men to their GPs asking for PSA tests. Go and ask for a PSA test. It's a blood test. Get it done. Peace of mind. It's done. Do it once a year. Easy.
And also, if there is something to report, time is on your side and is your greatest asset.
Exactly. Catching it early, and it's not a big deal.
Your greatest currency is time.
Yes, absolutely. So that is the clear message. And aside from that, the Tour de Four. This amazing event we're going to be running next year, a charity event. I'll be making sure both you guys, Vassos and Chris, you're going to get the bikes out,
mate,
or come down to the village at the end. Oh,
we're
amazing!
We're there. We are there. We are literally at your service.
Oh.